Hello, welcome back. It's Sheryl Schmidt from Sheryl Schmidt Artistry, and today we're going to make a quick and simple layered card using some distress oxides and, oh, just a second, let me move you in a little closer here so you can see a little bit better. We're going to be using distress oxides, distress inks. We're going to use the distress embossing glazes. And I've kind of taken my color inspiration from Harry Potter in the House of Gryffindor. If you've got a Harry Potter fan in your house like I do, we're always looking at ways to incorporate Harry Potter themes or artwork or colors into a lot of what we create. So I hope you'll stick around and see how the fun and magic progresses in today's video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you like what you saw, maybe even hit that subscribe button down below. So let's get started. I'm going to be working on mixed media paper. I don't know the weight on this, but it's pretty solid. The reason why I'm working on this instead of watercolor paper today is because it's a nice smooth paper, so when I go to stamp any kind of an image today, it's going to give me a nice crisp image without any of the texture that comes with watercolor paper. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp with a script stamp along the back. I'm using an old script stamp I have. This one happens to be from Just Create. The company isn't around anymore, but script stamps are pretty easy to come by. You should be able to find one in just about any place. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in and I'm going to randomly ink that up. I'm not really looking for a perfect coverage. I'm not covering the whole stamp. I just covered just bits and pieces. You can see the yellow on there. I'm using fossilized amber distress oxide. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to stamp over on this over on my left-hand side of the card here. And I'm just going to be real organic with it. And that gives me just this great little stamped image. It's not real crisp, and that's okay. I don't want it to be crisp. I want it to be very distressy. Then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with fired brick. I don't have fired brick in my oxides yet. It's on my list of colors to get, but I've got this in just the regular distress ink colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my little blending brush here. I'm going to wipe it off on the side. I know you can't see that, but I've been using it to do some distressing in brown. So I'm going to pick up some red on there. And then I'm going to come in and just bring that red through. I'm not looking for, like I said, not looking for perfect. Just bringing some color in, just random like that. And that's it. That's the two main colors we're going to use there is those two colors. And then I want to just very lightly make the colors run, because again, this is distress, and so distress will always move with just a little bit of water. So I'm just putting some water on my fingers, just flicking that down. I'm not going to let it sit for too long, just a second or two to kind of start wicking and moving some of that color, oxidizing some of that ink. And then I'm going to just come in and just dab that back and dab that off. Just like that. Then I'm using a stamp. This one is from the Baroque motifs. It's an old Stampin' Up! Stamp. I'm sorry, I have so many stamps that are old. I don't tend to circulate out stuff. I hang on to all my stamps, all my inks. I re-ink. I reuse my stamps over and over again. But I mean, a Flourish stamp is a Flourish stamp, and I'm sure you can find something similar in almost any stamp line. So look at what you have in your stash that you might be able to use. And again, I'm just going to ink that up. I'm going to stamp in my distress ink. And because this is an older stamp and I want a fairly crisp image with my Flourish, I'm going to bring in a foam mat here just to help me get that image the way I want. And I'm not going to stamp the full image, I'm just stamping a partial image on there. Give that a good press, and that foam will help give you a better stamp. And again, I just want just that hint of that Flourish in through there, and that's it. That's all I'm doing with that stamp. Now, because it's not distressy enough for me, I'm going to bring in some of my distress glazes, and just along the corner. Oh, I got some Schmidts in there. Just along the corner, the bottom of my paper, I'm going to bring in some of those distress inks, or distress glazes. So I'm going to use my VersaFine ink pad. And again, I want to be pretty kind of random with that. I know you can't really see. I can see some wetness on the edges. All I need is just an ink to be sticky enough to hold some of the distress glaze. So I'm going to start with the walnut stain. I'm sure that's what that one is. Yeah, the walnut stain. I'm going to use just the tiniest little amount. And I'm just going to put a little bit along those edges where I had put the Versamark. And then I'm going to come in with Crackling Campfire. Now I know Crackling Campfire is maybe a little bit more orangey in color, but that's okay. So I'm going to pick up a little bit more of this. I just wanted some of that brown in there just to keep it from being a little too bright. And I'm going to sprinkle that along the edge. And then I'm just going to lightly tap that paper, let those colors run together, move together a little bit. Maybe bring in just a little bit more brown in a few places. This stuff's pretty forgiving. It's quite fun to work with, and it is. And it is translucent when it's dry, which is quite nice. It's not opaque like a lot of other glazes or a lot of other embossing powders. Oh, sorry, I've gone off. I just am picking up my scraps and putting them back on the card and re-tapping to see if anything else will stick. And a tiny little amount goes a long, long way. I've got next to nothing left over, just this tiny little bit. And I don't worry about that, that just goes off into my waste bucket. So I'm gonna go and dry this. I will be right back. I'm gonna close up my distress glazes, otherwise I'm gonna have powder everywhere. All right, so I'm back. You can see now that it's dry, you get this nice little shine along the edge where I use that glaze. And you can still see the image, you can still see the writing. It just gives this really nice just distress look and feel, which is what I was after. So now I want to stamp some kind of a greeting on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of paper and my stamp platform from, excuse me, from Hampton Arts, and my magnets to hold my paper in place. I'm sorry about the reflection of the lights above, so I'm just going to throw a magnet in there just to hold that down. And of course, what's a Harry Potter card without the quote, always? And this is from, again, an old Stampin' Up! Stamp set, Always Elegant. I'm using this always. And I only ever, well, I shouldn't say I usually like to stamp in black. And I tend to use my black archival ink for stamping. One of the things I love about the stamping platform, and there's several different companies that make them, is that I can stamp that image down, and I use my little handy dandy tool that I made just to help push that image down in place. And then I'm going to just stamp that one more time just to make sure I've gotten it as crisply as I can get it. Perfect. Pull that out, set that aside to, and then I'm going to trim this down. And I'm going to pick up a little bit more of this red distress and just brush that along the edges just to do that. And I like to pop those up. I buy mounting foam at the dollar store. This is stuff that you would, you know, it's kind of like weather stripping stuff. I get this in the hardware section, the tools section of the dollar store. I pay peanuts for it, and use it to just pop up my greetings. So it's got some separation from the rest of the card. And then I'm going to mount that on a black piece of card. I use my Beacon 3-in-1. I like Beacon 3-in-1 or Fabri-Tac. They're a acetone based glue. I refer to it often as hot glue and cold glue format. It holds really well. I'm not shy about the amount of glue I put on there. I want to make sure things stay stuck in place. Center that on my black, and it stays wet long enough for me to adjust my papers and get things centered as best as I can. And then I'm going to mount that onto a card. And I'm just going to come in with some more glue. Again, not being shy. Get that stuck down. I like to open my card, make sure that everything's lined up. And there we go. A card doesn't have to be super complicated. It doesn't need a ton of layers. I encourage you today to go create something, look through your stash, see what you can find, play with stuff that you've long forgotten about. And you can just build up some layers and dimension through simple stamping techniques and a little bit of embossing, and you've got a great card to send to somebody. So thank you for watching. If you're still here, remember, give my video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button down below. I'll have links for all the products I used today or similar type products listed in the description below. And remember, go out today and find some joy in your journey. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. I just thought I'd, excuse me, just thought I'd pop back on here and show you what I did after I turned the camera off the other day. I I continued to make cards, and I made a set of Harry Potter house color themed, and thought I'd just show you what the set looks like all together. So we've got the Gryffindor card, we have the Hufflepuff card, the Ravenclaw card, and of course the Slytherin card. My son, who's a huge Harry Potter fan, when he got home yesterday and saw the Gryffindor one, he really got excited. And I thought, man, you know, if you've got, like I said, if you've got those Harry Potter fans, this is a great little card to send them. You can put all sorts of notes inside your cards. I always leave my cards blank inside. And if you don't have a Harry Potter fan, it doesn't matter. They're still a great card to sending notes of encouragement to people. So look at your stuff and dig into your stash and go create. Thanks. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.